Hi, I'm Joe. I'm jobless and my favourite colour is orange. So this is the drum kit. Today we're going to be talking about how we record it, how we make it sound nice, and why it's so fun to play. So here we have the kick drum. It sounds like this. We have 2 points to the kick drum that we find quite interesting for recording. One up nice and close, and one just out here outside of the shell. Now we have 2 because the one in here is nice and clicky, got lots of top end, lots of transient, and it really gives you the punch that you need for a recording kick drum. And this one back here, the out kick mic, we use to get all the low end that we need from our kick drum. Obviously kick drum's right at the bottom, lots of bass, and this is how we get all the bass. So this is the Audix D6. Now we use this at the front of the kick drum because it has a frequency response which matches the transient of the kick drum. It has a mid scoop, and all of the kick transient, well, most of it anyway, is around the 200 Hertz area. Now, we place this right at the front because this is where the beater hits the back of the head. So it gets most of that transient before it dies out here. Because obviously sound has to travel from here to here, and the higher frequencies being the knock, and the lower frequencies being they will last and survive out here, whereas the transient doesn't so much. So we place that one here, and for the outkick mic, we're using the D12 VR. It has 3 modes. Here has a nice little low end boost. The purple mode just has this little mid cut that they all have, and the blue has both the top end boost and a low end boost. Now obviously this is just for whatever you decide to use it for. We want both the top end boost to capture any transient that we can in there in the kick drum, and the low end boost to make it as fat as possible. So that's why we put it on the blue mode. I'm going to position this here, putting straight to that kick drum where that hits, have this one pointing up, and that is how we're going to get a good kick sound out of this drum. Now, the toms. These 2 are my favourite of the drums. Using this on the floor tom, we have Audix i5, part of the same set as the D6 we looked at earlier. And over here on the rack tom, we have Audix D3. Much like the D6, these 2 microphones have a mid scoop as well. Now, the mid scoop on the i5 is much higher, as also as the mid scoop on the D3 than the D6, because the D6 is specifically a microphone for capturing good low end. We have decided to use these microphones on these drums, as the resonant frequencies and overtones in these drums are much higher than in the kick drum. Different. We've chosen to use microphones from the same set, as it will give us a similar sound across the entire kit. This is because the circuitry is basically the same, made by the same company, and therefore they'll be using very similar electronics. That makes everything sound a lot more cohesive and together when recording the drums. So don't tell the toms, but the snare is actually my favourite drum. Now for recording the snare, we use 2 microphones, 2 Shure SM57 microphones. The frequency response is very, very good for capturing snare mics, and for the last 50 years they have been used religiously for drum recordings. What we like to do is get our SM57, pop it in the mic stand, point it towards the side of the drum. This is where you get the most body and most attack and most snap from your snare. Not in the centre where you hit it like with the other drums, but on the side. And this is to do with the composition of the snare, because the way you tune them, you tune the top head and the bottom head to the same pitch. And that means that when you hit it, the sound waves reverberate off the material that the snare is made out of, and give it this lovely specific tonality. We also use The second one's underneath, pointing it up at the snares. And this one pointing into the snares at the top. We get a mixture of body and snares. Snares.